but a little rain mixed with God's sunshine, a little pain makes me appreciate the good times. God desires to fill your longings, every pain that you feel. He feels them just like you. But he can't afford to let you feel only good. Then you can appreciate the good times. Grateful. Be grateful. Because there's someone else that's worse off than you. Be grateful. Because there's someone else not to be in your shoes. Be grateful. My God saved me. Heaven saved you. Be Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's edition of Serendipity Sunday. I pray things are well with each of you as you rise into this new day. That was Walter Hawkins' Love of Live Album 2, back from around 1978. So that may be a new song for some of you who are not as mature others who are on this call each and every Sunday morning. I am Asar, also known as Greg Stanton, your spiritual facilitator for Serendipity Sunday. I hope that you rested well and that you're acclimating to the shift in time and the shift in the daylight, where it appears to be, it just gets darker a lot earlier. Well, this morning, I want to also take a moment and say good morning to those who are on our YouTube live channel. As you've tuned in this morning, this is Serendipity Sunday, and I pray that you will find something that's uplifting and encouraging. And if you do, consider subscribing to the channel. That's no cost. That will allow you to receive the automatic updates as to when I am actually live, and also access to our YouTube channel. On our YouTube channel, you can find you can find the historical teachings. So you can go back, if there's a topic, you can type in a keyword and you may find what you're looking for. Have quite a few teachings out there. So I want to say good morning to each of you as we rise into this new day, this next day called Today. And as we prepare ourselves for this morning's message, I want to stop by and say good morning to those who are in the Zoom room, in the sanctuary. Good morning, Mom. Good to see you. Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning to, let me see who else out here this morning. Felicity, good to see you. Welcome this morning, Courtney. And to all those whose names I'm not familiar with or just a number is associated, I say good morning to you. So thank you for tuning in this morning. And again, it is my desire to bring a message or something, to state something that can make a difference in the viewership's participation this morning. So I said participation, right? So what I would love you to do as we're dealing with the topic of gratitude, if you would go ahead and type one thing that you're grateful for into if you're on the YouTube, you can type that into the YouTube feed. If you're on the Zoom platform, type something that you're grateful for. We'll give you a couple of 10 seconds or so to go ahead and do that. Someone said turn up the volume. I can do that. I can increase the volume. Let me see here. Okay, that volume is up there. Let me see. All right, mic check. Is that a little better? How about that on the volume side? Good. All right, great. Someone says there's gratitude. They're grateful for divine guidance and also the good food I'm eating right now. Okay, I'm not going to put you on blast right now. Who that person who is eating right now. Somebody else says they're grateful for good food. Now, see, that this seems to be the topic of discussion this morning. So let me also ask you, what has transpired this year that, not looking at it in this fullest sense, does not appear to be something to be grateful for? That is, did you suffer a loss this year? Did someone leave? Did someone transition through death? Did you lose a job this year? Did you not get the promotion this year? What transpired this year that, if not looked at in the proper perspective, you can't find gratitude in it? Something that you normally wouldn't be grateful for, but because of the teachings, you will find yourself grateful for them. So go ahead and do that. And let me see if I see anything over on the YouTube side. Good morning, Teresa. Continued good health. Awesome. Great. So I have many people populating on the YouTube chat side. For those of you on the YouTube side, I do want to let you know that once this teaching is done, I edit it and I post it back out there in an edited version, which is often shorter and not inclusive of the conversation that we're having. So again, thank you for tuning in, Teresa, for your good health. I pray that you continue to experience that. Awesome. So let us jump right in. Let me see what else. Someone was grateful for their health and family, enjoying life. You guys are not participating this morning. I guess you got to warm up to it. But I'm going to jump in for the sake of time. I honor and respect your time, as well as those of you who do the same with mine. So for the last 3 weeks, ever since we've entered into the month of November, we've been dealing with I see a hand raised. We've been dealing with, good morning. Let me see here. Bessie, good morning. I'm going to allow you to come on and talk. Good morning. How are you doing this morning? All you have to do is unmute yourself. Okay, I see your hand up there. Good morning, Bessie. How are you?
Good morning. I'm grateful for life. I'm just grateful in general for everything, for God's blessings.
Awesome. So I know you've been with the ministry for quite a few years, almost since its inception. When we talk about gratitude, when you look back over not only this year and years that have gone by, can you identify something that has transpired that when it was happening real time, you could not see a silver lining in it, or nowhere possible you could even consider that you'll be grateful for that thing transpiring in your life? Can you think of something?
Yes, just for my family. We had some struggles with the family, and you prayed for my family, and things has changed. Maturity has set in with
Awesome.
all of us.
Great.
We're learning how to forgive and forget.
Awesome. See, without those situations, whatever they may have been, not to bring them up to bring them present to right here, right now, but without those situations, you would not have had the experience to exercise forgiveness, understanding how forgiveness works, and
Yes,
really seeing where you were in the level of maturity. So I thank you for sharing that this morning. Give my regards to the entire
I
Page
will.
family as you guys circle up this week for Thanksgiving. I pray things well. And tell one of my favorite people, Reggie, I say, hey, what's happening? I miss seeing him around town.
I will tell him that because he's
Oh,
in Iowa.
oh, Iowa. Okay, tell him that.
He's visiting some people. Yeah, in Iowa. He's
Oh,
visiting
oh,
a friend.
awesome. Tell him I asked about him.
I sure will.
Good, thank you. So let's tune in to this morning's message. I'm going to ask if you would just, if you're multitasking, shut down the other things you're doing, be present to the conversation, so that way you can get the most out of what is happening today. So this week, I want to deal with the topic of, if you've got the email, it said it works if you work it. Yes, it works. Gratitude works if you work it. Now, that statement, it works if you work it, is a statement you will hear around the 12-step community. Oftentimes, people are just saying that to let them know if they're working sobriety, abstinence, it will work. And that is taking whatever is going on, whatever challenges we have in our lives. We want to learn how to work through them. The first part of working through them is accepting them, being able to accept that which you have the power to change, and accept that which you can't change and you just have to stay inside of. So I pray that as you rise this morning and that you realize that you've made it another day, that you can find gratitude in that. There's a gratitude to be found each time that you could be seen and not viewed. You get that? If you're being viewed, something is different, and that is all over. So each holiday season, round about now, comes with high expectations. For perhaps many of us visualize a cozy and festive time of the year, but for others, maybe it's not as cozy as festive. For some, maybe this year it won't be as festive because of perhaps loss of job or unemployment or whatever may be transpired. Someone who's usually at the table, not at the table, that can be challenging. For many, this time of year is kind of like tinged with sadness, anxiety, and some are even experiencing depression. Certainly, we know that major depression or severe anxiety disorders benefit most from professional help. So, if you know of anybody experiencing those kinds of things, connect them with the right professional assistance. Now, we all experience depression and anxiety at times, and if it's fleeting or if it comes and it goes, that's normal. But when you get stuck in it, can't move from it, get some help. So let's talk about today. How about some of us who may feel lost or overwhelmed or down at this time of the year? And when we think about it, many people, it's this particular holiday, Thanksgiving, that sadness come amongst a lot of people. When we look at research and common sense, it suggests that one aspect of Thanksgiving season can actually lift the spirits, and it's built right into the holiday itself. And it's called being grateful. The holiday itself is called Thanksgiving. So this is a holiday that comes around this time of year, which I think is a great time of year, because we're moving into that time of the year where it's the fall of the year. Things are dying. Things are not as vibrant. The colors are not as vibrant. You're having to go inside, and when you go inside and you move to the place of silence, you begin to confront those things that the summer months probably helped you avoid. When we look at the word gratitude, it's derived from the Latin word gratia. gracia, which means grace, graciousness, or gratefulness, depending on the context in which you use it. In some ways, gratitude encompasses all of these meanings. Gratitude is a thankful expression for what an individual receives, whether tangible or intangible. It's with gratitude that people acknowledge the goodness in their lives. And so we're going to explore that. In the process, people usually recognize that the source of what goodness is, or the goodness that lies at least partially outside of themselves. Most times we're grateful for something external to us, someone external to us. But you also must find a time to be grateful for who you are and your ability. Because oftentimes I mentioned that we are not victims, we are participants, and that we are connected to source, and that we are the God that are creating the lives in which we live. So you have to be grateful for your maturity. So as a result, being grateful also helps people connect to something larger than themselves, community, family, as individuals. This helps us, whether to connect with other people or with groups. We can connect with nature. It's a good time to get out and experience the shifts, look at the colors, or even to reconnect with God, source, higher power. This time of the year, many times people begin to reflect, because when we sit around the table, one of the first things we do before we cut the bird is we usually give grace. Now, in positive psychology, that's one of the fields that I find myself delving into. I do a lot of reading in that area and research. In positive psychology research, gratitude is strongly and consistently associated with greater happiness. Yes, your gratitude quotient dictates your level of happiness. Gratitude helps people feel more positive emotions. So your emotional self is a big part of who you are, and gratitude can help you shift your emotional state. Gratitudes help people feel more positive, relish good experiences, improve their health. Yes, gratitude, it is found that we're going to talk about 7 things that 7 benefits of expressing or having a spiritual practice or a practice of gratitude. 7 things that you benefit, your physical body benefits from, and one is the improvement of health. It helps you deal with adversity and build strong relationships. So gratitude, part of gratitude is being forgiving. Last week, so let's recapitulate. Let's recover. Let's go back over a couple key points from the last 3 weeks, so that way we can be present right here, right now. And if I mention something that perhaps you are not familiar with, you can go to the YouTube and pick up the other 2. You can pick the other 2 YouTube presentations up around gratitude. We started with gratitude has to do with an attitude. Inside of gratitude, you find the word attitude. And here at Oasis Spiritual Center for Divine Living, it's all about application. So every Monday, one of our 7 distinctives, which we practice the same day each week, this week, the first day of each week, which is Monday, we go into the week with gratitude. That is to always, at all times, show appreciation, recognizing that all things and experience have value to you. We always and daily, we practice gratitude with the statement of things are always working out for me. Even when they don't appear to be working out for me, guess what? Things are working out for me. Therefore, we daily affirm that we affirm daily that good things in the world, gifts and benefits are being received, are coming our way, and we have gratitude not after we get them, but we have gratitude on the way to them arriving to us. We recognize and we acknowledge here at Oasis Spiritual Center for Divine Living that the source of all things first are inside of us, and secondly materialize as a matter physical manifestation outside of ourselves. So we create the things that we show gratitude for, even the things that may not be expressing as what you desire. Oftentimes those things come forward in your life because you've created them. Part of what we do here at Oasis Spiritual Center is help you to understand that you are the potter of your life. You are the one that is sitting on the wheel, and based on what you're thinking, based on and what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. So we talked about also in the last 3 weeks that 3 essential components to gratitude. Can anybody remember what they are? That there's 3 essential components. Yes, one is recognition, 2 is acknowledgement, and the third one is appreciation. And we stated that recognition being the very first step of gratitude is that things are always working out for us. So no matter what is going on, saying that helps you position yourself in recognition that you can find gratitude in what you're going through, because what you go through, you grow through. Romans 8:28 is our key scripture for that particular component. We know that all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. Now, the law is the Lord and are called according to its purpose. So there's a twofold aspect to things always working out for you. When you realize that all things work to your good, when you are connected with your purpose, when you're connected with your soul path, then you know even when things appear to be wrong, they at some point in time will correct themselves and be right. The second one was acknowledgement. That is, we acknowledge our relationships, and the most primary relationship we acknowledge is that relationship we have with the Creator, with Source. And for most of us, the phenotype of Source is the Father, or you can say the Mother, Father, God. Mother, Father, Earth, Mother, Father, or you can just say the divine intelligence, which encompasses both the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And it says, who art heaven. So to let you know, where's heaven? Heaven is not a place outside. Heaven is inside your imagination. Okay, so you say, my Father who art in heaven. Where's heaven? My imagination, my consciousness. Okay, and that's taken out of Matthew 6, chapter 6, verse 9 through 3. It says, after this manner, when you pray, our Father who art in heaven, holy be thy name. So you're setting yourself up in reverence to something greater than you. And we often talking about that there's a power greater than us that not only surrounds us, there's a power that's greater than us that not only inhabits us, but there's a power that's greater than us that we have the ability to use. So learn to use the power that is within. Now, that's essential when you understand the scripture says, if you abide in me and I abide in you, you ask what you will and it will be so. It's aligned with the scripture that talks about God is the vine and you are a branch of that vine. And if the branch is disconnected from the vine, it's disconnected from the source. And ultimately that thing is going to dry up, wither, and die. The third thing, so we have the recognition, the acknowledgement. These are 3 essential components of gratitude. And we're going to move into today's lesson here shortly. And the third thing is appreciation. So a lot of times it's good to have a conversation of appreciation around the table. So as you are cutting the turkey, eating the dressing, the chitlins, and all the other things that you may be eating high on the hog, low on the hog, or if you're just a vegetarian, or if you're a pescatarian, or if you like myself, you're an eatitarian, as you're indulging in the food. Nothing goes with food like great conversation. And let the conversation be, let's talk about what we are appreciative of. What has transpired this year that we are appreciative of. Now, I would also recommend, if there's loved ones in your family that has transpired, who has made their transition, maybe in the recent future or distant future, I usually would encourage the people to say either a candle that you light or a plate that you fix. You put all the entrapments on that plate. And as you talk about that person in gratitude, you talk about Thanksgiving gone past, and you talk about what you're grateful for the experiences. Even in that person's no longer being with you physically, know this, and this is something Christianity has failed to really express. Even though we say to be absent from the body, to be present with the Lord, we don't really make space for us to acknowledge our loved ones who are on the other side. Many times people get that misconstrued with some kind of witchcraft, but I believe that our loved ones are clearly with us. Even on this week, one of my children made a comment that his mother came to him and in essence, kind of told him he needs to be at the Thanksgiving table this year. And so sometimes when we lose, when a loved one transition, we never lose them because they're always with us if we acknowledge them. And for some, because we're so accustomed to engaging that person in the 3D realm or the sensory realm, that when they pass away, we don't really make space for the new relationship with that individual as a spiritual being. And if we begin to do that, for the word, it says, honor your mother and fathers, that your day may be full upon the earth. And that means that be in remembrance of those loved ones and family members who have gone on before you, even though they're not here in the physical, they are present to us in the spirit. Many of us cannot really get the fullness of that because of the pain of the loss that we have not transitioned through. So there's ways to grieve, and I'm not going to talk about that today, but I do have a teaching on grieving. I'll make sure I get it posted up this week. So those are the three essential components of gratitude that you must incorporate: recognition, acknowledgement, and appreciation. So last week we started talking about your level of gratitude is tied to your level of trust, and we define trust as a firm belief in the reliability, the truth, the ability, or the strength of someone or some things. Like, so when we trust in the Lord and lean not to our understanding, it's not until we get an overstanding, it's not until we have enough experiences that we know that things are always working out for us, that God never leaves or forsakes us, that God is willing to see us and to do. It says, one of my favorite scriptures says, God desires to do exceedingly abundantly above anything you can ask, think. And so to trust that not only can God do it, but God or source desires to do it. Learning to trust is a big part of gratitude. So when you really trust source, when you trust anyone, let's say if you trust your parent or you trust someone who has your best interests in mind, you thank them before they even express the thing that you desire them to express, because you have trust in them. When we talk about trust, it's the acceptance of the truth of a statement without evidence or investigation. For many of us, our religion or our Christian experience has been built solely on trust. But there comes a time when you got to examine it, what you believe, because what has been given to you as beliefs may need to be tweaked. Maybe it's been given to you in the wrong way. And I want you to learn how to take what has been given to you, you refine it through the light of truth, and then you let what is not truth go, and you hold on to that which is the pure, unadulterated truth. He talks about trust also being the state of being responsible for someone or something, like stewardship. God has given you, source has given you something. It could be a gift. The word says your gift makes room for you. And it says, see a man who is diligent in his or her work. They should stand before kings and queens. They will not have an audience with paupers, because they are cultivating the gift. They are so your gift that God has given each of you. I want to say that right here, right now. Some of you are in poverty. Some of you are going from this job to that job, seeking to find out where you should be to make your money. But when you really identify what your gift is, and you begin to operate in your gift, and you begin to polish your gift, money will follow you, because the word says your gift makes room for you. If you are polishing your gift and exercising your gift and perfecting your gift, it's going to solve someone's problem. It's the solution, and being the solution becomes also resources from that. So it's instead of being responsible. So that's something I want, as we move towards the end of this year, begin to look at what is my gift, and am I being responsible with my gift. Some of you have gifts that you've been giving away. You got to stop giving your gift away. You can gift your gift, meaning to some you will deliver your services or goods without a cost. But for the most part, you need to begin to monetize the gift that you have been given. Because if you're not monetizing it, what is happening is you're going to keep pouring out, and eventually you're going to lose out because nothing is coming back in. That's a whole nother conversation. So that's important. So when we talk about trust, we're talking about a firm belief in the reliability. Now, there's no greater person we should be able to trust than that individual or that entity that we call God, source, higher power, divine intelligence. All of those things, we have to trust in them. But many people don't really trust in it, does not trust in it. And that's proof by how we go through life. We go through life, it says, be anxious for nothing, but in all things with prayer and supplication. That is having a conversation, expressing yourself. So I want to help you all to grow in gratitude by leaning into your trust in God. And we talked about that on last week. And so I'm going to leave it at that. So my key scripture today is trust in the Lord and do good and dwell in the land and enjoy safe pastures. If you trust in the Lord, you do good. If you live in Ma'at, if you're really looking at your life on a daily basis, and it's not from a judging perspective, but it's from a perspective of growth. So at the end of your night, don't just fall into bed and in exhaustion go to sleep. But when you're laying your pillow to your head to your pillow and you said your prayer, whatever, take a moment and recapitulate. That is, go back over your day and ask yourself, look at what decisions you made, look what actions you take. And if the Spirit comes upon you of a conviction, not condemnation, and says that you could have dealt with that person differently, you could have given that person perhaps $1. And so you always have to be conscious of that. Like last night when I laid my head to the pillow, I just recalled how, as I was out and about yesterday, I grabbed burger from Burger King, and they had a 2-for-1, and I purchased 2, but I didn't eat both of them. But I just after I ate the first one, I wrapped the second one up, and I said, oh, I'll eat that a little later while I'm watching football. But later on that day, I was coming off the expressway, and on the side of the expressway was a brother who had a sign, and all of a sudden the Spirit said, there it is. So I reached over, grabbed the sandwich, and I said, hey, here's a sandwich, and he lit up. See, that was trusting that God would provide. And so he took the sandwich, and I moved on, and I felt good. So gratitude, when you are operating in gratitude, and the gratitude is not only receiving, but gratitude is giving. And it felt good to help that brother out. The Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, last week we talked about trust in the Lord with all your heart, not your head, and lean not with your own understanding. That is, don't try to make your way based on what you know or what you think is best to do, but trust and learn to move through life intuitively, not instinctively, but intuitively. That still small voice talking to you. He says, when you do that, in all your ways, submit to him, and he or it will make your path straight. Some of you feel like you're on a crooked path. You're on a meandering path through life, and you want to get a straight path to success, then trust in the Lord. Lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to it. Okay, you'll be like David. David says, thy word have I hid in my heart, that I may not sin against thee. See, that's what you got to get to. Thy word have I hid, thy instructions have I hid in my heart, that I won't miss the mark. I know the spiritual principles. I know the what we call the universal principles, and I hide them in my heart, and I practice them. Now, as we move into Thanksgiving, I want you to also be conscious of 1 Thessalonians 5 and 18. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God. In all things, give thanks. Because when you're giving thanks, you can find gratitude inside of that thing. So let me enter into today with 7 things I want you to take away as scientifically proven benefits of gratitude. Okay, so there's 7 things. So the first one is gratitude opens the door to more relationships. The second one is gratitude improves your physical health. The third one, gratitude improves psychological health. I'm going to come back to these. I'm just giving you all 7. Gratitude enhances empathy and reduces aggression. Gratitude or grateful people sleep better. not sleeping, you might have the sleep bed. With what is, I don't know what that bed is with the different numbers. You can raise it to 10, but if you're not a grateful person, you still gonna toss and turn at night. Gratitude improves your self-esteem. 7, gratitude increases your mental health. Now, we are divine spiritual beings having a human experience. So if you superimpose your divine spiritual essence onto your human essence, you can see the work of gratitude as a spiritual practice will help you in your physical life. So let's look at the first one. Gratitude opens the door to more relationships. Now, how many of you feeling lonely? Be grateful. Not only does saying thank you constitute good manners, but showing appreciation can help you win new friends. According to a study published in Emotion, the study found that thanking a new acquaintance makes them more likely to seek an ongoing relationship. So whether you thank a stranger for holding the door or the person at the checkout aisle, whether you thank them or not, this is what you need to know. If you send a thank you note to that colleague, okay. So here's what I'm saying. Sometimes you can drop a thank you note to somebody. Sometimes you may have a card that you filled out. And you don't know who you're going to give it to today, but you have that and you give it to that person after if they deliver excellent service or they move you to the front of the line. You already got the card and you give it to them. So whether you thank a stranger for holding the door or sending a thank you note to that colleague who helped you with the project, acknowledging other people's contributions can lead to new opportunities. Acknowledging other people's. So some people are so narcissistic, so into themselves, so all about me that they forget to say thank you. Stop right now. Say thank you. Type in one person that you can say thank you to right now for something they've done or something that they have, something that they've committed to doing. So the first one is simply gratitude opens the door to more relationships. So if you don't have friends, that's probably because you haven't shown yourself friendly. And one of the first acts of showing yourself friendly is just to say thank you. Okay, the second one, gratitude improves physical health. Many people are out there with conditions. When we look in the scripture, before we give communion every Sunday, there is a scripture I would take people through. It says, let a man examine himself before they would take communion. And what you want to be examining, if you have fought with others, if you're holding animosity towards other people. So when we talk about gratitude improving your physical health, grateful people experience fewer aches and pains and report feeling healthier than other people, according to a 2012 study published in the Journal of Personality and Individual Differences. Not surprisingly, we found grateful people are also more likely to take care of their health. Isn't that something? People who are grateful are most likely those who are taking care of their health. They exercise more often and are more likely to attend regular checkups, which is likely to contribute to further longevity. Now, you may not take it, like I don't really go for checkups, but I check in, okay? I check in with source. I check in with my body. When my body is saying or is expressing in a way differently than it should be expressing, when I feel a pain, when things are not working as they should, I check in with my body and I check in with the manufacturer of my body and I ask for a solution. I ask for what is my body saying to me, and lo and behold, it'll tell you maybe you're carrying too much, not physically carrying too much, but the weight of the world is on your shoulder. Or it may say that you're leaning into a certain aspect of your strength versus leaning into source's strength. But gratitude improves your physical health. So when you lay down at night, you can express gratitude for your physical health that you have. Maybe you don't have the ability or the muscles, the strength that you used to have, but you can show gratitude for what it is you do have. And if you are evaluating your body, what comes to light is the thing that you need to do, perhaps to enhance it. Then you can be grateful for the contrast. Third thing, gratitude improves your psychological health. Okay, man is a spirit that possesses a soul that lives in a body. Four dimensions of man. Man is a spirit being, or I usually put it like this: mental being, emotional being, physical being, and spiritual being. So when we talk about the our mentalness, a mental aspect of our being, gratitude improves that. Gratitude reduces a multitude of toxic emotions, from envy and resentment to frustration and regret. There's a guy by the name of Robert Edmonds. He says he's a leading researcher in gratitude. He's conducted multiple studies on the link between gratitude and well-being. Matter of fact, you can Google Robert Emmons, Emmons. He has a piece out there that I really encourage you to look at, and he talks about the research as it pertains to gratitude. So I'm going to talk about gratitude inside of a conversation beyond just thankfulness, but the science behind gratitude. So he as a leading researcher, he has conducted multiple studies on the link between gratitude and well-being. His research confirms that gratitude effectively increases happiness and reduces depression. So if you are dealing with unhappiness, start making a gratitude list. If you're inside of depression, start going back over your life and finding the things that you can be grateful for and joyful for. And the only reason a lot of people get stuck in depression is because they depress. One of the psychologists that I used to follow when I first started practicing was William Glasser, and he taught reality therapy. William Glasser. I don't hear that name tossed around anymore. I don't hear that mode of therapy, but reality therapy. And he had a lot of good points about it's impossible to be sad and do good, happy things. If you're doing something that brings you joy and happiness for that moment, the present that your state that you would be in, you will not be able to express sadness. And sometimes it's a matter of choosing to not be depressed, not be sad. I had a conversation with a dear friend on yesterday, and during the course of this conversation, she stated that sometimes she'd be sad and she'll spend 20 minutes in the inside of that sadness. And I asked her, why do you spend 20 minutes in there? Why if you can get up in 20 minutes outside of the sadness, why don't you get up in 10 minutes outside of the sadness? Matter of fact, as soon as you feel sad, get up out of sadness. Sometimes we allow ourselves to stay inside of something, one, because it may give us a sense of comfort, it may give us a sense of pity, whatever it may be. But if you don't want to be sad, get out of sadness. If you don't want to be depressed, move from depression. Now, sometimes it's more than just a thought. It may be something physical. Maybe you had this thought so much that now your emotional self, your chemical makeup has been challenged, and you may need some assistance with that. But for the most part, we are so fearfully and wonderfully made that we can create we can create things and we can destroy the things that we've created. So we have that much power. The fourth thing about gratitude I wanted to express to you this morning is gratitude enhances empathy and it reduces aggression. What do I mean by that? Grateful people are more likely to behave in a pro-social manner, even when others behave less kindly. According to another research back in 2012, the study by the University of Kentucky, they showed that study participants who ranked higher on gratitude scales were less likely to retaliate against others, even when given negative feedback. So a grateful person is most likely not to experience road rage. A grateful person is most likely not to lash back out at you when you say something or bring to their attention maybe a shortcoming on their behalf. Many times when people are lashing out at you, you can see that person is having issues with gratitude. Their story is life is not being fair to them. Okay, so what we find is these individuals experience more sensitivity and empathy towards other people, and a decreased desire to seek revenge. That's for somebody this morning. Somebody out there is still holding that grudge. Someone out there is seeking revenge, and it's not the revenge that you want to deliver, but you're praying that God will get that person. No, you just forgive them and let that take care of itself. Know this, you can't violate the law. Universal laws. So if someone's done something wrong to you and it appears that they've gotten away with it, they've only gotten away from you. But the reality is what has happened, what they've done the wrong they've done to you, I guarantee you it will return to them at a most inopportune time. Don't get stuck in what people have done to you. Release it, release them. If they are willing to take responsibility for that thing, then you sever the relationship and you just keep it moving. And sometimes you don't have to let people know you severed the relationship. Just move on, let go. Cut those strings you have to things of the past that are holding you hostage. Okay, the fifth thing about benefit of gratitude, if you work it, grateful people sleep better. Now I'm cooking with fire. Writing in a gratitude journal improves your sleep. Put it next to your bed. The things that are rolling around in your head that you just can't get rid of, write them on the paper before you go to sleep and let them be there. We take too many things, too many unresolved situations, too many questions into our sleep. Leave that stuff on the table and just go to sleep. So he says writing in a gratitude journal improves sleep according to a 2011 study published in Applied Psychology. Health and wellness being, he says, spending just 15 minutes jotting down a few grateful sentiments before bed, and you may sleep better and longer. Instead of going to sleep thinking about unresolved things, instead of going to sleep thinking about things that has happened to you, go to sleep inside of what has happened favorably. Even the thing that has happened to you this day, you didn't get the job. But even in not getting the job, what did you get from it? You got the opportunity to interview one more time. You got you had the opportunity to identify that there is something that you could do better than you've been doing, perhaps. Sometimes we just have to take responsibility and listen. Sometimes you may interview and you've given all the right answers, you said all the right things, you did all the things you should do, but you don't get the interview, and then you might say, what was that all about? Maybe it's something you said during that interview that was inspiring, encouraging, uplifting to the person who was interviewing you. So sometimes we just have to realize life is not about the goals we set. It's about the journey we set off on. So be grateful. Grateful people sleep better. Not sleeping well at night? Check your gratitude attitude. All right, number 6, gratitude improves your self-esteem. Again, in a study in 2014 that was published in the Journal of Applied Sports Psychology, found that gratitude increases athletes' self-esteem. An essential component to optimal performance is the self-esteem. How you see yourself, how you define yourself, believe in yourself dictates or determines your ability to perform, not just on the athletic field or on the basketball court, but in the boardroom, in the classroom, and just in life in general. How you see yourself. Do you define yourself exclusively as you, or do you define yourself inclusively as you and Source? I and the Father are one. If you see me, you've seen the Father. If you've seen the Father, you've seen me. I am an aspect of God. And so how you define yourself increases your self-esteem. And your self-esteem, if it's increased, your self-esteem can be increased just by gratitude. They said other studies have shown that gratitude reduces social comparisons. Other studies show that gratitude reduces social comparison. If you find yourself comparing yourself to other people, you're not spending enough time inside of gratitude. When you go into gratitude, you go into focusing on yourself. Rather than becoming resentful toward people who have more or appear to have more money or better jobs, a major factor in reduced self-esteem, that is when you're comparing yourself, grateful people are able to appreciate other people's accomplishments. That's a big one right now. You celebrate with other people. To be grateful to hear of someone else's testimony. It's the word of God says. Sometimes we are saved by the testimonies of others. Sometimes the testimony of another person gives you a sense of hope, knowing that God's source, it is no respecter of others. What it has done for them, it'll do for you. But you don't want source to do for you what is done for somebody else. As 2 siblings in the same house will say, Mom, you did it for Greg, so now do it for me. That's not, nothing disturbs a parent more than having to have to do something because it chose to do something for one child, but yet did not see the need to do it for the other child. Each child is different. It'll be sad if you treated all your children the same, because some of what you give one child may be destroying that child versus that what you're withholding from a child may be that very thing that's going to increase that child potential or his trajectory to success. So just like we as parents have to pay attention to each child and deal with each child as an individual, Source does the same thing with us. Source deal with us on an individual basis. That's important. So gratitude improves if you improve your self-esteem, how you're looking at yourself, how you define yourself. So all those things are important. And the last one this morning is gratitude increases your mental strength. Yes, according to research, gratitude increases your mental strength. For years, research has shown gratitude not only reduces stress, but it also plays a major role in overcoming trauma. So sometimes it's very difficult to find gratitude in trauma. On last week, there was an image I saw on Facebook of a woman, African woman in chains, and she was like on all fours, and there was a little girl looking at this image, this still image that had been created by an artist. And I said, that was great. That was a powerful piece. And then there was another picture of a man standing, a Black man standing with shackles around his hands, around his neck, a very true image of what has happened in the past. And somebody came on my page and said they prefer not to see those things. And I understood, because they have not worked through the trauma. Those situations still elicit a level of trauma. Whereas for me, this is an ongoing part of my life conversation, and I've learned how to work through it. And I'm not to the place where I say it didn't happen. I acknowledge that. So when I see an image like that, I say, look at God. I look at, imagine this. When you think about what happened in the, when there was what they call the slave triangle, or the crossing of the Atlantic, how many Africans died never having made it to the shore of America, or those who died once they made it to the shore of America. But if you are connected genetically to those individuals, you are here today listening to this because you made it. Your ancestors made it. So you can find gratitude in the fact that through all the trauma that was subjected, our ancestors were subjected to, I made it. I've made it, not only that I'm here in this space called now, but I don't have any psychological issues going on. Because when you look at the truth of the matter, most African Americans should be expressing some form of psychological disability when you look at what liabilities we've had to endure. But many of us have made it because we have been able to find the silver lining in the darkest cloud. We've been able to take our spiritual belief systems and practices into life that gives us the ability to deal with trauma. It gives us the ability to deal with the life challenges. So we must know this. Trauma is very real. But when you learn how to express the practice of gratitude, it lessens the impact of the traumatic experience. There was a study that was done, and it was published in the Behavior Research and Therapy magazine, found that Vietnam War veterans with higher levels of gratitude experienced lower rates of post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay, and then in 2013 or 2003, there was a study that published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. They found that gratitude was a major contributor to resilience, the ability to bounce back. Following the terrorist attack in September 2011, those individuals who had greater levels of gratitude, they were able to get through that. Recognize that all you have to be thankful for, even during the worst times, fosters resilience. In all things, give thanks. That's gratitude. So as we move into this week, Many of you will be traveling the highways, byways. Many of you will be traveling back in your mind, visiting times when all were around the table, times when your favorite relative or loved one was present. And it may strike up a level of sadness, but I want you to reframe it inside of the conversation of gratitude. To be grateful that even though that person's been gone for maybe a year, 2 years, 10 years, 12 years, look how you made it. When that person first transitioned, you didn't think you could make it. But here you are today. You're able to reflect back over that relationship with that person, and you're able to not bring forth tears of joy. I mean, sadness, but tears of joy. A tear may arise, but it's not a tear that is coming from a place of sadness. It's the joy of having had the opportunity to engage that loved one. It's the joy of remembering something that loved one did to you or for you that helped you become who you are. And just to be able to say thank you for that person being part of your life. Well, I prayed this morning that something has been said that has been uplifting and encouraging. And I want you to know it works if you work it. And what is the work it I want you to work? I want you to work gratitude. So as we've gone into this month, deeper into the month of Thanksgiving or November, I've been talking about gratitude. Take some time and go back over the tapes, the videos, and listen and see what they're saying to you. You may have heard it, but then there may be something you missed also. Gratitude. Inside of gratitude is the attitude. And it's your attitude that is able to take you to the highest altitude in life. Thank you. Well, before we close this morning, I want to say a couple things, so don't go nowhere. And then I'm going to close with the song this morning. I'm going to go into my vault and find a secular song to help us look at gratitude. Well, if this ministry has been a blessing to you, if this message this morning has been uplifting, encouraging, and supporting to you, consider being supportive to this ministry. You can go to the website, www.oasisspiritualcenter.com. And when you go there, you can find on the giving tab the way to give to this ministry. And don't put off till tomorrow the thing that you can do right here, right now. Because sometimes we say, okay, I'm going to give this week. And many times, you know it, the week has gone by, the pay period was, and all you got in that pay period is gone, and you meant, man, I forgot to give. So avoid that. Learn how to be instant in season. Just like you want to receive your blessing now, be a blessing now. Don't put off till tomorrow what you have the ability or what Spirit is saying to do right here, right now. So I want to thank those of you who have continued to support this ministry at whatever level you've supported, those of you who've never supported, but today said, you know what, I'm going to sow into that ministry. Not because the minister has expressed greed, but I believe sowing into that place will be a place of prosperity. It will be a fertile field that will bear fruit, not only in the life of that ministry, but bear fruit in the lives of those who have, or not in my life, just simply that. So I thank you. So I thank you from my heart for that which you've given, that what you're giving, and that's what you will give. And that's all I have to say about the giving part. Okay, couple things. We are getting close to the end of the year. I'm really have been burning the candle at two ends. I'm working, in essence, almost two full-time jobs to take care of the invoice for the marriage that is coming down the pike in September of next year, my daughter. So, but I'm going to shift that in January. I'm going to resign from that. I'm believing that I will be resigning in January and just be inside of what I'm supposed to be doing. And I know my gift makes room for me. I created this extra job, and sometimes you gotta be careful. Sometimes we create our words are our wands, and you can be so powerful in what you say that it shows up in the very same day. And I said I need to get a job, and that's by the end of that day, I was hired with one of the major shipping companies that's around. So that's all I have. Let's go into the back room. If there's any questions, let me move over here to our attendees list. It's good to see all of you who are in the attendees list today. I see my mom's hand is up. You have the mic. Good morning.
Good morning. Good
Yes,
morning.
yes, good morning.
The message that you gave today, I think you and I had talked about it last Sunday, but I just want to give a good word. After you and I had a personal conversation about what was going on with me, things did a complete turnaround, a complete turnaround. First of all, I was able to listen to different conversation and not rebuttal, and I kept it moving. I had a conversation last Monday, would you believe it, at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning with my grandson, which I hadn't seen in over a year or two. And we sat in my car. We laughed, we talked. My whole day was filled with joy. Yeah, I took him some chili. I just had to. But my whole day was filled with joy. Then during the course of the week, I had something to come up, tried to flare me up. I wouldn't do it. I just sit and listen till they finished. And then I say, have a blessed day. I didn't let that turn me around. I am grateful. I am truly grateful for gratitude. And you all better believe my attitude is changing. It is. I'm not speaking that from the mouth. This is from the heart, because I will rebuttal, and I know, and I should keep it quiet. So now I listen and I keep it moving. And I want to thank you, Greg, for being my son and my pastor. I thank you. I listens to you. Oh, my child can't tell me nothing. That's a tale. That's a bold-faced tale. If it's the word, it comes from source, and you must obey and obey. Thank you all. And everyone out there, please have a happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to my granddaughter's house. Yes, I am. Whether I drive or somebody come and get me. But I had an offer yesterday from my therapist. If I wanted to go, she would send me an Uber and see that I come back in Uber. But I don't like that. I want to do it on my own or my family. So you all be blessed and have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Just eat as much as you want to. Eat for me, because I don't eat that much. So I leave that up to Pastor Greg.
All
You all
right.
be blessed and have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you. Good. Thank you for sharing that and for the expression of gratitude and the experience from having the right attitude. Awesome. You have a wonderful day. Good. Okay, Felicity, I'm going to bring you in this morning. Good morning, Felicity. What is your takeaway this morning? What do you want to bring to the conversation? How you doing this morning, Felicity?
I'm doing really well. I had a powerful moment of gratitude this week. I always just look for, principles and laws and the way things work. And I saw that I was thinking about being content in whatever state I find myself in. But I saw that the transition from being in one state to being in another state, it had me looking at the things that I felt like I was losing. And then I was beginning to I just wasn't as happy. I just was kind of blah. And all of a sudden I had a reminder, like, look at what you have. And I just started getting an appreciation for what I have. So it reminded me, if I find myself in a transition, make sure I'm keeping as much focus on what I have as much as what appears to be leaving.
Awesome. What appears to be leaving, because nothing ever leave us and we just don't have access to it anymore at this time. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Any word of advice you want to give, as I know you are a life coach also? What is it something you find that you have to deal with when it comes to gratitude and your client base?
Well, I I love the point about that gratitude improves your mental health or your strength, something like that, because when we're ungrateful or entitled, we express a lot of weakness. We find that we say there's a lot of things we can't do, and there's a lot of things we can't tolerate. And it's because we're just so ungrateful or we're so entitled that we are putting our responsibilities on others. And then when they don't do those things, then now we're all twisted on the inside. So becoming grateful really does empower us. It's like, I have what I need. I can do this, even if it doesn't appear to others that I have what I need, that I can get this done. I can do this, whatever. So there's a strength, a mental strength and tenacity that comes with gratitude.
Yes. And to be honest, be on the playing field of life, to be grateful, to be on it, to be inside of looking at the experiences and not taking them on as a victim, but the potential to be a victor, as a participant in life, and that God is not judging us when things that show up in our lives that is contrasting what we want is not because we've come up short. In essence, we look at it as though maybe it's not time, and I am going to find the silver lining in what I have, making do with what I have, and just being thankful with what I have. We live in a day and age where everybody's searching for a bigger or better or more. Let's just sometimes be thankful for what's showing up right here, right now. Awesome. Thank you, Felicity. Before we go this morning, I want to acknowledge a couple of people. In particular, I know Trinity has lost a loved one this year. Sister Michelle, I'm glad you're with us. Her husband transitioned earlier this year. Dorothy's mom transitioned this week, and I'm probably missing a lot of other transitions we've had over the year. But as we move into this time of the year, for many people, this will be their first Thanksgiving without that significant person in their lives, without that child, without that loved one, without that friend. And you know that sadness will show up at the most inopportune time. Before you know it, you may be sitting at their table, cutting the turkey or smelling the smell, and a memory comes flooding in. Just be present and be willing to share with others. I'm just having a moment, but I have gratitude because all the years that have gone by, that person has been here or expressed in such a way that has made this day so much more value. And sometimes you don't even know how valuable that person or that situation was until it's gone. So let's look for gratitude this Thanksgiving. Join us on Thanksgiving morning. We will have I'm going to move it to about 8 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day. I'm going to bring a special Thanksgiving prayer. So 8 a.m. Central Standard Time on our prayer line. So you got to go to the website, www.oasisspiritualcenter.com, and go over to the prayer line, and you have all the information. That's 9 o'clock on this Thursday. I'll make sure I send an email out to invite all of you all. So that's all I have. Don't forget, if you made a commitment to sow a seed into this ministry, make sure you take care of what you intended to do. It's your intentions that make a difference. I want to leave you with this song from 1973. Though you may say it's a secular song, there's no separation between spiritual and secular, or secular and sacred for me. So check this song out. You can drop off when you like, but we're going to stay in and enjoy this song by William Devon. Be thankful for what you got. 1973. against the white wall. TV antennas in the back. You may not have a car at all, but remember, brothers and sisters, you can still stand tall. Just be thankful for what you got. Though you may not drive